Ladies and gentlemen, Izmirli, My Last Love by Firat Sunel.
You are my last love, Izmirli. Everyone does, but my love does not. The fire inside won't go out. You are my last love, the love of my life. I miss you so much. I long to see you. You are right. True love is indispensable. I have never been able to let go of you. Always carried you in my heart. I love you so much, Izmirli.
I now invite Vikas Swarup to take over the session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a very special session with the Ambassador of Turkey to India, Nepal, and Bhutan, His Excellency Firat Sunel, whose latest book, Izmirli, My Last Love, has just been launched. You saw the book trailer. You know, it is very rare to have a serving ambassador launching a book at JLF. It is even rarer to have an ambassador launching a work of fiction at JLF. But Ambassador Firat Sunel is not just a distinguished diplomat. He is also a best-selling author whose literary works have captivated readers with a deep understanding of human emotions and cultural complexity, while remaining firmly rooted in Turkey's rich history and vibrant storytelling traditions. So it is wonderful to have this opportunity to engage and learn from a fellow diplomat novelist. Excellency, hoş geldiniz.
Hoş bulduk. Teşekkür ederim.
Now, this is your third novel, Firat Bhai. As a practicing diplomat, what inspired you to start writing fiction in the first place?
Vikas, I am a hopeless daydreamer. But you know, dreaming is not so good in diplomacy. It can cause diplomatic disasters. But I can't live without dreaming, and then I try to fill this gap with fiction, with vitamin fiction. So it's true, diplomats write books, but writing a novel is very rare. I think currently I am the only novelist ambassador in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey.
Oh my God, the only novelist ambassador
yes, now,
of Turkey.
Currently.
Wow.
But this is not a choice. If you want to write non-fictions, you rely on your knowledge of the subject. But if you write fictions, you need more than knowledge. Imagination and inspiration must be your closest companion in this journey. So you cannot just say, I want to write novels, and you start writing. It's not possible. And I started my journey as a fiction writer long ago. I was not an ambassador. When the Muse visited me first, I was 9 years old. And
9 years old?
Yes, I was in the primary school, just 9 years old. And I wrote a book, George of Africa, that was the name of the book. I was inspired by Robinson Crusoe, and just want to create my own version of Robinson Crusoe. So that was my idea. But ever since then, I've never stopped dreaming of being a novelist, and I've continued to write short stories and other issues. But being a professional writer, although it was my dream, but I didn't dare to publish any books. And because, you have to be mature in order to be a novelist.
Correct.
And it took me up to when I was in my 40s. One day, just wake up and feeling I feel mature, and I can start with my first novel.
So you also wrote your first novel in your 40s like me.
Exactly.
And
We
what
have so many
happened?
comments.
And what happened to that story on Robinson Crusoe?
It's still, I keep it as a memory.
But look, Firat bhai, I also know from my own experience that balancing the roles of a writer and diplomat is not an easy task. So what have been your experiences in navigating these dual identities, and what are the challenges that you have faced in pursuing both with such dedication?
So you are the best person who can understand me well, I think, Vikas. You know, long ago, before I was posted to India as ambassador, I used to go to universities or literary events like this. Was giving lectures or participating in panels. And this question was asked me, you know, several times. And in my answer, I give Vikas Swarup as an example. Yes, I didn't know you then personally, but I told you how people, you know, how you were put under on the spotlight on you. People put on the spotlight on you because your writing style was a bit critical, and they said an ambassador shouldn't be so critical towards some certain issues. So that's why I give you always an example. Then, you know, after years, I was appointed to India as ambassador, and suddenly you were my counterpart. And even as secretary...
Yes, I was Secretary West, looking
yes,
after relations with Turkey.
Yes, he was even my boss as Secretary West, yes. And then first we were colleagues, and later we became good friends as two fellow author diplomats. So indeed, back to the topic, the balance between being a writer and being an author, this is a very delicate one. You can write about any kind of topic as a writer, but as a diplomat, you can't. You have some limits. And also, language is different. Language and style and tone. As a diplomat, you know, as a writer, you can use all kind of words. You can use slangs and even profanity. But as diplomat, you can't. As diplomat, you have to be very, very polite. So, because you are also a diplomat, please tell me, what could be the harshest expression you can use as a diplomat?
What is the harshest expression I can use as a diplomat? Oh my God. Okay, I think I would maybe condemn.
Yes,
I condemn this.
Condemn.
Yeah.
Yes, when we condemn, it's very hard. And when we are very mad, then we condemn strongly.
Yes, we condemn
that's
strongly.
All. It's not right. Like in, you know, literary language. And for writing, you need a stunning literary style and tone. You have to choose the right words, but aesthetic is also very important. But in diplomatic writing, it's nothing to do with aesthetics. They are more focused on clarity of the expression. But sometimes, as you know, we use ambiguity purposely. As Henry Kissinger said, constructive ambiguity.
Constructive ambiguity, yes. Or strategic ambiguity.
Or strategic ambiguity, yeah. But we do it purposely.
Right.
So, you walk on the razor's edge if you write as writer and author with dual identity. But this is not a huge problem. You just need to separate the inks you use. You know, if you not mix the inks when you write diplomatic text and literary, if you are able to separate, there won't be any problem at all. So you can do it. So these were some challenges and difficulties, but there are also some advantages of being diplomat and author. Let's talk now of the positive sides. So, you know, being a writer broadens your vision, horizon, and your network as ambassador as well. And I can open some gates with my diplomatic, with my writer ID where my diplomatic ID doesn't work. You have also experiences, you told me once, we all have this. This is, of course, one point. And as a diplomat, you, most of the time, most of your career, you spend abroad. And abroad means you explore new cultures, new lives, and new colors, everything is new, make new friendship. And these are all inspiration for your upcoming works. In diplomacy, as a diplomat, if you are a writer, you don't need to run after stories. The stories find you. So that's why it's an advantage. And there are also some commonalities, like the differences. For example, you also expressed in one interview, we diplomats are trained to use words very carefully. Yes, this is very important in diplomacy, but you have to use the words very carefully in literature as well. So this is an asset. And as a diplomats, we are very good, in sense of words, diplomatic self-discipline, and time management. They are all assets, good assets, valuable assets that you can use as a writer as well.
Now, coming to your new novel, Izmirli, My Last Love. Now, it has been described as a compelling psychological thriller with romance and a gripping narrative of personal discovery, but also an exploration of the complexities of human relationships. So my first question to you is on the title itself. Normally in literature and popular culture, we extol the virtues of the first love, the innocence, the charm of a first love. But you have written about the last love. So what is the reason for this change in perspective from first love to last love?
Yes, first love is important. First love is unforgettable, of course, because it's the first time you are introduced to this phenomenon, love, with first love. But you fall in love first time, mostly at your young ages, when your hormones are getting your blood boiling. But it is your hormones fall in love, not your heart. You may have later a lot of relations after your first love. You may fall in love several times. But at the end, there is only one relations you think it's unforgettable. And this is the love of your life. And I call it the last love. So that's why the last love is important. And when we have time later, I can maybe read some snippets from my book, but we keep it for later.
Later. Now, my second question is that your previous works have explored historical and cultural themes, especially the themes of identity, displacement, what it means to be an expatriate, come back to your home country, etc. Whereas this book is a very deep and compelling psychological mystery. So what led you to change track completely from historical and cultural things to a psychological mystery? Almost reads like a murder mystery.
Yes. No, actually I haven't changed so drastically because, human is at the core of literary works. And when you need strong characters. And strong characters are unforgettable. You can forget the plot of a novel, but strong characters are immortal. So in my other works, although they are historical fictions, I pay attention to this, to create strong characters. So, you cannot create strong characters without psychological depth. So that's why I emphasize psychological complexities in my book. But on the other hand, Izmirli, okay, I love writing historical fiction, but Izmirli, when you read Izmirli, in the between the lines, you can read a lot about Turkish culture, customs, traditions, and you know about the turbulent recent history of Turkey. And also the social and cultural changes in the society.
Yep, absolutely. Now, you mentioned the importance of creating strong characters. And some of the strongest characters you have created in this novel are actually female characters. Whether it is the heroine Eylu, whether it is Neslihan, whether it is Yağmur, they are all very nuanced, complex women whose emotions, struggles, and inner worlds are very vividly portrayed. Now, as a male author, how easy or difficult was it to portray these female characters with such remarkable dexterity? And what were your sources? Where did you tap into to understand the female psyche?
So, it's quite common for male characters, male writers to use female characters when they tell their story. They use female characters and tell the story through their eyes. It's normal. But it was a challenge for me because
you're writing in the first person.
Yes, I tell the love from the heart of a woman. And my female characters in my book, Eylu, Neslihan, Yağmur, they are not just simple, spontaneous characters. I try to delve deeper into the feelings of women and their passions as well. And the way how women think, react, and even love is different from men. And it is a challenge. It is a challenge to write about the emotional complexity of women. And whether I was successful or not, I don't know. It's up to my readers to judge whether I could do it or not.
But did you consult your wife, for instance? Did you consult your daughter to understand the inner workings of a woman's mind? I mean,
yes, of course. I have so many examples in my life to study. So, and later, when I finish my book, of course, I have so many voluntary readers. I gave them a book to check, and most of them are women, and also some psychologists. But they were all happy. They were, astonished. They said, "Oh, you reflected very well." But this is their point of view. The point of my readers are more important.
Excellent. Now, also this novel is filled with very deeply passionate and evocative lines about love, because eventually this is a novel about romance. So, for instance, true love can't be explained merely by your soul's need for someone else. Then another place I read, the fire burning my heart was hotter than embers. Happiness was not selfishness, but a sublime concept with no alternative. Now, as a diplomat and as an ambassador, roles that usually call for a poker face and a serious demeanor, how do you manage to write such emotive and poetic lines? Is this your way of breaking free from diplomatic restraint?
Do you consider yourself as a poker face?
No, but I don't write such romantic lines like you have written.
Yeah, but you still write romantic issues, And you and I are, living examples for being a diplomat. We diplomats are not emotionless creatures. On the contrary, we are very, very sensitive people. And let me explain why. Because most of our career life, we spend abroad. And away from everything, from our loved ones, from our families, even from our memories. And even if we are very happy in the country where we are working, like I do, I feel happy in India, you still miss your home because it's your homeland. And this homesickness makes you melancholic.
And makes you melancholic,
yes,
correct.
Yes, and the melancholy is a source for emotional creativity. If you are melancholic, you are emotional. If you are emotional, you can write poems or novels. So that's why I think being a diplomat and being writers, they can do together very well.
Well, I think at this point in time, we would love you to read something from Izmirli, My Last Love, so that readers can get a taste of this passionate, deeply intense, passions that you bring to bear in your prose.
Okay, this will be also answer to your question, why Last Love? In chapter 1, don't worry, it will not be a spoiler because it is in chapter 1. There is a letter. Our protagonist Eylu finds a letter from her late mother.
So basically, Eylu discovers a letter from her late mother.
Yes.
Right.
And then she starts reading this letter, but I will just read some part of this. You are my last love, Izmirli.
So this mother is not writing this letter to her daughter.
No.
The mother has written this. It was a secret letter which now Eylu has discovered.
Addressed a person whose nickname is Izmirli.
Izmirli. Okay.
So nothing to do with Eylu. Eylu just discovered this.
Right. Okay.
So,
let's see. Let's hear.
Okay. You are my last love, Izmirli. You know how they always say you never forget your first love. The finest poems, the most romantic films are all for first love. What nonsense. It's actually the last love you never forget. Like your last breath, there is nothing beyond it. Maybe it's the innocence of first love that makes it such a catchphrase. Or maybe a kind of intoxication sparked by tasting something for the first time. Who knew that first love could never introduce you to passion? It's your last love that passion has the last dance with. That's how it goes to the grave. You are my last love, the love of my life. That's why I can't forget you, my Izmirli. Everyone dies, but my love does not. The fire inside won't go out.
Brilliant. Round of applause, please. So Firat bhai, I have my impression is that you chose Izmirli, My Last Love as the title because you are from Izmir, which is a very important, a very beautiful city in Turkey. And I think this city, your birthplace, plays a very vivid and central role in Izmirli, My Last Love. In fact, it almost feels like a character in its own right. The city itself is like a character in this novel. So how did your personal connection to the city shape its portrayal in the novel?
Yeah. So Izmir, my hometown, is on the westernmost tip of Turkey with thousands of years of history. And this is an old but vibrant city, a very modern city with Mediterranean lifestyle and with free soul and romantic character. The city has its own romantic character. And moreover, Izmir is very well known. You may remember, you were also in Turkey, for its beautiful and beautiful women with indomitable spirits.
Supposed to be the most beautiful women in Turkey.
This is true. This is like a legend. We say most beautiful women in Turkey are from Izmir. So, which is true, I think, by the way. My main characters in the novel are female characters. And that's why I inspired from Izmir's beautiful women. But we say, in Izmir, Izmir's beautiful women are like Izmir's weather, unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
Most of the time sunny, but then suddenly stormy and rainy. So that's why, it's both sides. It's a good thing to write about Izmir's women.
Let me turn to your debut novel. Now, your debut novel was called In the Shade of the Weeping Willows. And that inspired a widely acclaimed TV series called The Great Exile Caucasia. So what was that experience for you as an author to see your fictional novel being converted into a web series?
So it's nothing when we compare with your Q&A, which
I believe it was widely successful in Turkey.
No, it was successful in Turkey. I'm very happy that it became a movie, a film, and it was on the top of ratings list 10 years ago. It's really an amazing thing to see your book as a novel. You know, when you write my book, my first novel, In the Shade of the Weeping Willows, has its seventh edition already.
Seventh edition?
Seventh edition.
Wow.
It was a bestseller in Turkey. You know, it was read by tens of thousands of people. But as a movie, it had access to millions. So that's why it's, you know, really...
So how soon after publication were you approached for the film rights?
Yes, yes, it helped, yes.
Immediately or?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Immediately, yes, yeah. And then this
Were you happy with the cinematic version of your book?
You know, I can't be 100% happy because when
they must have changed. They must have
serious,
changed a few things.
They changed some scenes. They created some persons or killed some main persons. But okay, the core is my novel, but still there are changes. But at the end, because the film was very successful, I was also very successful. And besides novel, I write also screenplays. I have already completed some screenplays. And I am also planning to write a screenplay for Izmirli as well.
Excellent. So this book is also going to be made into a film or a web series?
Hopefully.
Okay.
I am working on it.
And you will be writing the screenplay?
I will write this time. I will not...
Fantastic.
Yes, I'm going to write this.
This is amazing. Okay. I want to understand from you, Firat Bhai, what next for you as a writer? I know, of course, you will be doing the screenplay, but future literary projects, what do you have in mind?
Yeah. Yes, I will continue as writer, of course. I have already 4 published books, and 2 more finished, completed, but not published yet. So next, I'm going...
2 more finished novels?
Novels, yes, already.
Written while you were in India?
No, I completed in India when
Okay.
I started in Turkey, but completed here. So I think I will publish those 2 novels. And I am now also focusing on publishing my novels in English. So The Lighthouse Family
Yes.
and Izmirli, My Last
That's
Love,
right.
it's already published by Penguin.
But
And
not
next
only
year-
in English, I believe you have also been published in many regional languages in
Yes,
India.
yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, it has been, you know, translated more than a dozen languages.
More than a dozen languages.
And a dozen languages, and especially in India, I think Malayalam, Kannada,
Kannada,
Tamil,
oh my God,
and Bengali.
Bengali.
Yes.
You have been translated into more languages than I have been translated in India. Amazing.
Yes, so I will continue because English, India is a heaven for authors. So I will concentrate on this, and I hope next year my 3rd novel, In the Shade of the Weeping Willows, will be published in English by Penguin Random House again. So I will continue this. You know, as if you have a profession which keeps you very busy, you don't have time. You have time. You create your own time, but you can't be so productive. And being a diplomat keep me 24/7 on 24/7 basis. And I need to get up very early every day, 5:30, in order to be able to write my novels. And without any difference, it includes weekends or holidays. But if I retired, then I can work as full-time writer. I will be more productive.
So you are looking forward to retiring?
Yes, okay, but I have so many years. It's too early to talk about this because still 7
years to go.
7 years to go. But I feel because I have so many you know, plots in my mind.
Right.
You know, whenever I get retired, I will start immediately and produce like a factory, a novel factory. I am planning to do this. So what was the other part of your question?
No. Now the other part of the question is what next for His Excellency Mr. Firat Sunel, the diplomat?
Okay.
Today I heard the very sad news that your tenure in India is coming to a close.
Yeah.
So, of course, I think all the people in the audience would love to hear your impressions of serving as the ambassador of Turkey to India. Which are the places you visited? What are the experiences you had? And more importantly, how did India inspire you? both as a diplomat and as a writer.
Okay. Let me continue with the previous question because it just came into my mind. You asked me about my coming future plans. Yes. I am going to write a novel which is set in India. It will be a romantic novel,
okay.
a romance with historical fiction. The plot is already known. And then I have started writing my memories in India in a literary narrative way. So it will be Indian diaries.
Wow.
I have already started, and
Like
I hope...
Octavio Paz wrote about his impressions.
Yes, but in literary way like him.
Right.
So it will be also published, and then you will see when you read my Indian diaries how I was in India, how I felt, and how I see India. So, and your second question, as a diplomat. It's true. I have already completed my 4 years in India, and yes, tragically, I say tragically because I'm very happy here. I'm living, but this is a part of our profession. We spent 4 years abroad and 2 years in our center. Now it's time to say goodbye to India. I am living soon, but I am entrusting my heart, half of my heart at least, to India, to my India.
So India will be your last love.
Apparently, yes. So, I really had a very unique experience in India as a diplomat, as a writer, and as a human as well. And professionally, India is a very important and challenging country. And it is a school even for the most experienced senior diplomats. We learn so much in India. And my colleagues, my fellow ambassadors or diplomatic community in New Delhi, they describe India as a continent. But I say, no, India is not a continent. It's a galaxy.
It's a galaxy?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's so deep. So, this is professionally. And as a writer, India really contributes so much with its vibrant culture and literary heritage to me. Everything here in my daily life is a source of inspiration. And India was a catalyst for my creativity and was also a turning point for me in my literary career because it made me transcend national boundaries. Before I come, I was known in Turkey with my novels, but now it's beyond this, and that's why India will always have a special place in my heart.
So in this galaxy, which are the stars you visited? Which are the cities that really impressed you the most?
Okay, I was able to travel around from northern to Himalayas to Andaman Sea. In some cities and regions even several times. So my favorite part is Kerala, I would say.
Okay, Kerala.
Kerala, yes.
God's own country.
Yes, my Kerala, but every corner of India is so amazing. And the more you travel in India, the more you love India. So that's why I also suggest and tell my friends in the embassy and our fellow diplomats, please try to go and see around as much as possible.
Good. We have just about 10 minutes left, so I think this is the best time to open it up to the audience. Any questions that you have for His Excellency Firat Sunel, he'll be happy to answer. Okay, the lady in the yellow sari. Mike, please.
Hello. First of all, sir, I would like to thank you on your new book launching, that is Izmirli. Sir, I want to just ask, what exactly motivated you or what exactly hit you to write this book, The Last Love?
So what was the main inspiration?
So this is a good question. I was inspired, for example, in my first book, In the Shade of the Weeping Willows. Obviously, I was in Georgia, and then I met with some people, we call them Meskhetian Turks, who used to live in Georgia before the Second World War and deported forcefully by Stalin. I met them, I heard their stories, and that was inspiration for myself. And for Izmirli, I really asked myself as well, what could be the inspiration? Because the plot is so intricate. And maybe many issues. You know, when you are a novelist, everything can inspire you. Sometimes a person, sometimes a smell, sometimes just a color. And in Izmirli, as I said, I asked this question to myself as well. There are so many, the story starts with letters. Eylu, our protagonist, finds some letters written by her late mother. And when I started writing Izmirli, I lost my father in a tragic way.
Oh, you lost your father at that time?
Father. My father, yes. I was lost in a tragic traffic accident suddenly. And then after that, I found not letters, but some notes he wrote. And then these notes helped us to understand him well after his death.
Okay.
I think that was the strongest motivation for me.
So some autobiographical elements also,
Autobiographic would be not very appropriate, but inspiration, I would say.
Yes. This gentleman in the blue T-shirt.
Thank you. Hi, it's a curious coincidence. I find two ambassadors sitting in front of me, and both of you have
One
written-
ex-ambassador, one current ambassador.
Once an ambassador is
Once an
always
ambassador,
ambassador.
He is distinguished, I am extinguished.
Well, I won't take your word for that. And both of you have curiously written 4 books each. Now, here's a question and a caveat question. Of each of these books, which are distinct from the previous ones, which one is your favorite?
You're asking me?
Both of you?
Well, I have read all of his books, and I think each one is very unique, as he mentioned, in The Shade of Weeping.
It's a question about your books, and he needs to answer about his books.
Yeah, so he's read my books also, so I'm sure he can answer that. I can answer about his books. I think, what I admire about Ambassador Sunel's writing is each book is completely different from the previous one. My books, I think, I call them all social thrillers, so they still follow like one genre, but his books, like this one, if you read the first book, which is about identity, displacement, people who went out of Georgia, it's a historical fiction. This is psychological fiction, so in a way yes, the emotions, the characters, the complexity remains the same, but the setting is completely different, and the surprises that you get at the end of this novel, as to what actually happened, I think are amazing. So for me, The Lighthouse Family, I think, is also a very, very interesting book. But to me, Izmirli, My Last Love, is my last love.
Okay, so I just want to make a remark. You said extinguished. So once you are a diplomat, you are always a diplomat. Once you are an ambassador, you are always an ambassador. So, Vikas, and I would like to tell my opinion about your books. I love your books, and my favorite book is Sixth Suspect.
I know that. You have said this many times.
And when it comes to my own books, it's really not easy to tell which books is my favorite books, because they are my own books. They are like my children. It's like saying which child is your favorite child. It's not easy to answer. But if you insist, then I would say Izmirli is also my favorite one.
Before the mic gets snatched from me, here's a caveat that I had. Which was the most difficult one to write? Each of you need to answer about your own books and not each other's books.
Izmirli, because you are dealing with the complex characters and emotions of women.
And for me, obviously, it was Six Suspects, because Six Suspects, is looking at India through 6 different eyes in their own perspective. So every 30 pages, I was changing perspectives. First I'm writing in the form of a mobile phone thief, then I'm writing from the perspective of a Bollywood star, then I'm writing from the perspective of a mafia don, then I'm writing from the perspective of a retired bureaucrat, then I'm writing from the perspective of an American who comes to India, then finally I'm writing from the perspective of a tribal from the Andaman Islands. So it's very lucky that I did not land up in a lunatic asylum, because 6 different characters were living in my head at the same time. Yeah. Okay, I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions. The lady here.
So from what I get, you developed the characters first and then you wrote your story. Is that how you did it?
So I developed the plot first. And I know where and how to start and where and how to end. But between the end and start, I just write, once as I start writing, I introduce the new characters. I have, of course, some major characters before I start. But in the course of time, when you once start writing, then you discover or create new characters. That was not initially my idea, but suddenly a new character is born and will be the strongest character. So it depends always.
This lady here.
So my question is, how do you write your emotions, like really write emotions of a complex character?
I try to feel. I try to emphasize yes, and empathy, find some empathy between me and my characters. Because if you cannot put yourself in the shoes of your character, you cannot think emotional. And why, for example, my favorite book is Izmirli. It took 5 years to complete this novel. And the main character, Eylu, I become Eylu 5 years, really. Otherwise, you cannot, reflect the emotions. If, for example, Eylu is happy in the part that I was writing, I feel also happy. When she's not happy, depressive, then I used to wake up also depressive. So there is no other way. You have to feel like your own character.
Yep, that is the only way. You have to become your character to be able to write from their perspective, to be able to capture their emotions. Any other questions? Okay, the lady at the back.
First of all, good afternoon to you too, sir. And I wanted to ask that as a beginner writer, how can I start writing? Like, I do have creative ideas in my head, but I'm not always able to put them into words. So how do I start writing?
So what is your advice for first-time writers? How can they create their own novel?
Yes, this is very important. I wrote my first so-called novel when I was 9. It means, first, you have to read. You have to write, exercise. And please keep diaries. They are really very important. They trigger your creativity in writing. And the more you read, the more you write, the more developed would be your literary style developed. So don't hesitate to write. Write and share with your friends. In the beginning, of course, maybe they will not be very, accomplished. But in the course of time, you will see the progress in yourself. So just be brave, write and share. And one day, you will really feel, oh, now my literary style, my tone, and, it's now mature. Then you may publish your first book professionally as well. Just go on, keep on writing.
Yes, I think that's the golden advice. Write. Even if you write badly, write. Because remember, you can always edit what you have written, but you cannot edit a blank page. So on that note, I think we'll have to call this session to a close.